agents, we've got to understand the market, because one thing I think one question we always get, if somebody asks in your elevator speech or whatever you do, when you say I'm in real estate or I'm a realtor, that's what I do for a living. One question we always get back is, how's the market? I mean, how many have had that question? Well, let's start out, and I want to hear from y'all. Who's all done an open house recently,
I've done a couple.
and what I'm just trying to get the feel of what you saw over the last couple of weeks as far as the market. What did you see on your open house?
Nobody.
Okay.
No, I've done one in Chevyville and one in Manchester 2 weeks ago. I had a neighbor come over in Manchester and nobody showed up at all in Chevyville. And the one in Chevyville is only 3 years old, but it's in the new construction subdivision.
And are they having to ask as much as the new construction homes?
Well, the new construction just went up. We was only like 15 or 20,000 below the new construction. Now we're probably about 30,000 below new construction.
Still no interest?
No, not yet. I've had a few showings on it the last couple of weeks, but no interest. And the one in Manchester's a little bit it's on a higher price end for an older house in a older subdivision. I put it that way.
Yeah.
And we can't go much lower because they just bought it last year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was going to get with you, see what else I can do, because it's been on the market for a little while. And it's the house is old and been added on a couple times, and it's real choppy.
Okay. Anybody else seen what the market? What I want to hear what the market's doing for you, and if you've had open houses or if you have a listing, any showings. Uh, just trying to gauge the what's happened locally. A little more hyper local.
I have a listing in Liberty Village. It's a townhouse, and I'm looking at it right now. There's 5 in that neighborhood. All of them have done price reductions. Only one of them is under contract. They've done open houses. I've done open houses, and there's just not much activity.
So are you getting any traffic at your open houses?
They would have like 1 or 2 families, and then I would have showings outside of that. And I know mine is higher price, but the other agents that had open houses, they had low traffic. Yeah. So we have 5 listings in this neighborhood, and they're all sitting except one.
Okay. Anybody else? So how many people are working with buyers right now?
I'm working with one in Smithville. There's just nothing in their budget, around 230 right now.
Yes, there is.
Angela has spoken.
Well, nothing they like. They want it an acre lot or more. Do what?
Okay. Some past clients of mine have a house built there. I think it's road, but the yard's but it's like 220.
Angela, your audio was in and out. Angela. All right. Can y'all still hear me?
Yes, yeah. I can.
Okay. All right. Well, and the reason why I'm asking is I think we see a softening of the market right now. Part of that could be the July 4th holiday. So a lot of times the week before, the week of, and the week after, we see some slowing of the market. So it'll be interesting to see what comes up. I do believe, we're going to see. Again, there's a lot of people that want to buy a home. We know that. We know there's the pent up demand. and we just got to get the rates to where they're comfortable with coming out of the woodwork and moving forward. So until that is, the listings we do have, we're gonna see a slow market with them, and a softening of showings and things like that. But we've got to understand, as agents, we've got to understand the market, because one thing I think, one question we always get, if somebody asks in your elevator speech or whatever you do, when you say, I'm in real estate or I'm a realtor, that's what I do for a living. One question we always get back is, how's the market? I mean, how many have had that question answered to them?
Absolutely, I have multiple
Yep.
times.
Yep. And how do you, Steve, I'm just curious, since you responded, how do you answer that question?
Well, it depends on how the market is going. I usually tell them, I say, you know what, it's still going strong. I said, because people's got to live somewhere. And I said, when Middle Tennessee area is so much of a, a hotbed. I don't say a hotbed. It's so big. So many people moving here. I'm trying to think how. It usually depends on who I'm talking to as well. I just say it's still going strong.
So as agents, being prepared to share that knowledge, but not only that, we don't want to bore them with so many facts and figures that they just shut out. Okay.
One of the things I do tell them, Rick, I say, well, since 2010, and I know it's a little figure here, and it's one of the main things I tell them. Since 2010, there's an average of 600 people moving to Rutherford County every month, which is true.
And we do got to remember, real estate's hyper local, and Tennessee is always, Middle Tennessee has been in a pretty good bubble that has shielded us from things that are happening across the country. Middle Tennessee has been able to dodge some of that. However, we've also been a area where we've gone up so much in price, and with the interest rates going up, it's made it tough for buyers to make that commitment. It's also made it very tough for sellers to come off their homes. But one thing, as long as we understand the market, as long as we understand interest rates and what the Fed's doing, no, we don't know exactly, but right now, their Market Watch reports that there's a 90% chance that we see a interest rate cut in September. Probably nothing in July, but and Jerome Powell has been hinting that way. So it'll probably be like 25 bips. But when we start seeing that positive news come out, that pent up demand is going to start waking up. Okay. So one way that we can get people to connect with us online, to connect with us, even offline, is by understanding the market. Okay. So I know a number of our agents do a market update. And I think that's imperative that we do one. It doesn't have to go in depth. It's just hey, this many homes, and you could do Rutherford County on one week, the next week do Wilson County, whatever counties you work in. You could do a market update each week and just keep on doing it. But now what we want to do is we want to drive people to our social media platform where we're putting that. So when people are out there that we meet and we're talking and they ask about, hey, what's the market doing? We give them a very general or light answer back to them, but we let them know, hey, I post market updates every month, and then drive them to your social media page so you've got them online. And it's easy to do. Many of you, I know Marla's created many a QR code on Canva, and that's free, right, Marla? What the version you use?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So you can create a QR code to drive them to your social media page, whether you're doing it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, or you did a YouTube video of it. You can drive them to that market update. So again, what we're doing is we're showing our professionalism and our value and our knowledge of real estate. Okay. So social media platforms, there's different. YouTube fits a niche, and Instagram and Facebook and even TikTok, they all fit different niches that, so like if you want to do a recording of the market update, obviously YouTube would be good, maybe even Instagram or Facebook Reels would be an excellent place to put that recording of you just giving a brief market update. And it follows exactly what you're posting on Facebook. But if we work 4 counties, let's say in here it's Rutherford County, then you work all the counties that surround it, why not do a market update for Rutherford one Monday or Friday, whatever day you choose, do another market update for another county the next Monday on week 2, and then 3 and 4, and you've covered everything around your main area. If it's Rutherford County, you've covered Wilson, you've covered Davidson, you've covered Williamson, and maybe Coffee and Wilson. So whatever works for you, but by covering those, you're hitting all the counties that you're in your market, and you are sharing knowledge. So when you are talking to those people, we're not sitting there explaining the whole market in long form because they're going to tune out. But yet we can, if we have something that can drive them to our social media pages, well, now what we got is we have somebody captured and following us on social media where we can deliver more content, and you are staying in front of them all the time as an expert for the area. So we're going to post. In fact, I'm going to share my screen and kind of show you. Matt and Ben talked about this on Thursday. I don't know if you guys watched it from where we texted it out, or if you actually were there live. But I'm going to share my screen and the graphic they put out on this. Let's see. Yeah. See if I can find it. All right. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a social media plan of action, and we are going to include this on the collateral for this week. And it kind of just gives us a guide on what we can do. So video, you can do market updates each month. We just talked about that. Each week for different counties. You could do a broad one if you wanted to, and do it for all of Middle Tennessee. I do think it's helpful to understand what the rest of the country is going through. That's one thing we can do. Photos and testimonials are awesome. Many of you have got clients that were happy with you, but we never worked on getting a testimonial with them. So most of you do pictures at closing. Make sure that you're following up for a testimonial from them so that you can post those testimonials. Maybe interview them, or maybe just talk to them how their experience was. We've talked about doing neighborhood videos, and of course, video always is one of the better ways to create engagement on our page. And then, of course, anything written. We talked about meeting with and having coffee with different business owners and getting to know them and letting them know, hey, I'm going to refer, once you get to know them, you let them know you're going to refer business to them. And of course, they're naturally, hopefully, going to refer business back to you. But you may want to write an article about, hey, I ate at this restaurant. Here's the owner. It was great. Really. And hopefully you've seen some examples of that. I can't remember the guy's name that does a lot of the construction updates. That's an example. If you're on Facebook and his first name's John, but he does a lot of construction updates on what's being built, what's new in Rutherford County. Something like that and he's got tons of engagement with that. So, and then of course, animated graphics. So here's the different, you'll see this is the different, content types and where you should post daily, weekly, bi-weekly. So, use this guide to help you when you're posting on social media. And then, just a couple of, just the definition of what kinds of things to put on there. So we're going to have this your, for collateral for this week, so that to help you with social, because what the idea here is to know in the market, get them to your Facebook page, get them to your Instagram, and now they're seeing your post, through a guide. Hopefully this will guide you through it to put the right things out there, and you are touching them online hopefully a bunch of them just one time. So it's kind of like working our database, but we're doing it through social media. Okay. So once we have these things and we put, maybe questions out there and get engagement from them, then that gives us opportunities to bring them from online back to offline to where we're meeting with them. So and the reason I talked about market update and interest rates in the beginning was because as we transition and we start to see rates come down, yes, it may be slow right now, and the talk of what you guys are seeing out there kind of shows me and tells me exactly what we are seeing, and that's a slower market and a softening of the market right now. But what I think we're going to see is when, I don't care if it's 5.99, when there's a 5 in front of that interest rate, I think we're going to see a lot of that pent up demand start to step out. And, that's, in fact, I'm going to give you an example of an email to send this week. And it's talking to renters, and it's basically, one of the questions you can ask is, at what interest rate would you consider buying a house again? We're just trying to create engagement. And the more people we can get to our online platforms, and the more content we can give them on a regular basis, that helps them. So these things that guide you through the different posts, it doesn't always have to be real estate either. It can be the updates of what's happening in your community, or a new neighborhood that's being built, or the available homes in a certain subdivision. So always be thinking on ways to get people to your online pages. Again, the QR code, driving them to which page that you like to use and that you use the most, and then creating those market updates. So I know a few of you do it. Where do you get your information for your market updates? I saw David on here. David, and I think Chris, you guys do market updates pretty regularly. Where are you getting it from, Real Tracks or RPR?
We get ours from Real Tracks.
Okay. And then did you create a Canva template?
We did.
Okay. And David, well, how about you?
I use both RPR and Real Tracks, and I create mine on Canva as well.
And let me ask you, have either of you guys gotten engagement from your market updates?
Yes.
Yes, I have had a few questions.
Okay, there you go. So guys, there's validation right there that these regular market updates, and it doesn't have to be just Rutherford County. You can, when we say market updates, and you think about the person that's out there scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and they live in Wilson County, and you did a Wilson County market update, they may stop and say, whoa, I'm interested in that. If it's Wilson County, but they're in Rutherford County, they may scroll on past it. So that's why I think if we do, maybe a general, and then each week maybe do a different county. And I think, David, do you actually do that now? I think he does. I'll answer for him. And then Mayfields, do you just do an area one, or do you do different counties?
So we do Rutherford County in our newsletter. But then like on social media, we do the updates for like the different surrounding counties of Rutherford.
Another idea, by the way, I mean, I don't think it doesn't cast as broad of a net. It casts a little bit smaller of a net, but is doing a market update for a neighborhood that has, and just posting it, that has lots of action and or a neighborhood that you would like to be in. So we talked about that during farming neighborhood, when we were talking about farming neighborhoods. But these are things that you've just got to schedule your day for, and schedule whether, and you can do these posts and then have them scheduled to post out. So if you take one morning and do nothing but create market updates and then schedule it for the whole month, you've taken care of the month. So I hope you guys will use that and do that. Again, I do believe right now, there's a couple things I think are going to happen. I think one, when and if the interest rates drop, and if that 90% is correct in September, I don't know that. I think I'm hearing 25 basis points or 25 bips, which is 1/4%. I don't know that's going to be enough to get us in the fives. I think it'll be enough to get us in the fives with an at least a decent affordable buy down, buying points to get us in the fives. So, and as this market changes, the way we do business, depending on the incentives offered by a seller, that may be, there may be enough money there for the buyer to buy the points down to get in the fives. So asking that question, just that general question to your database and doing it online to create engagement. At what interest rate, have you been interested in buying a house? At what interest rate are interest rates stopping you? At what interest rate would you would it take for you to come, to start looking to buy a house? Creating that conversation is imperative. I don't know how many of you got your database and have renters, separated in there. The email that I'm gonna give you this week is kind of based on that, on renters, but it also could go to buyers also that are not, or first-time home buyers, or somebody that's not purchasing. So again, we are going to see our language change as we go. We've talked about that a number of times. I kind of wanted to get off of that a little bit this week, but I did want to bring up, Steve brought up, he called me this week or last week when talking with a seller. We are going to have more and more sellers that understand and know about the lawsuit and are going to hear that, hey, I do not have to offer a buyer's commission. So we've got to be prepared on how to answer that and how to talk to those people. So have any of you guys worked or seen any scripts that you like, and are you ready for that conversation? Has anybody had a conversation with a listing about this yet?
I have a listing and I told him, I was like, soon we're gonna have to take off the compensation. And then I asked him, I said, being at your price range, would you be willing to do concessions? And they understood and they agreed to both, that they are still gonna offer concessions, including compensation. But I guess I'll have to get with you of how to change stuff and exactly what I'm allowed to say and where. And I mean, I think they're still in the mindset of we're just going to do it how it was.
Yeah.
But follow the rules.
Okay. So let's think about that. So what's changing right now is what we know of is RealTracs is in any MLS is changing the way there no compensations offered. It does not prohibit a seller from offering compensation. It's just not allowed to be advertised on MLS. You can advertise it on any other media, but not on your MLS. Okay, so it's not, I don't know, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't believe it's going to transfer over to Zillow and Realtor.com. So these are going to be more platforms like your website, your social media, things like that, where you can actually advertise that the seller is willing to help with the buyer's agent expenses or whatever. Uh, the other, and understand a lot of this is going to be a little fluid as we get into it. The other thing is, let's just say it's a $300,000 house, and they want to offer they're willing to pay 2%, so that's $6,000, and they're also willing to pay 4,000 in in buyer's closing costs. Well, why wouldn't we just, I don't know that we just don't put $10,000 in concessions. Or I don't know that we don't put anything. Again, this is just because we haven't seen how the market is going to react to all this. Okay. I don't know that if you don't put anything and just create the conversation, and when the agent calls, and if they call, you just say, put it in your offer and we'll evaluate it. So that way you haven't tipped your hat. Okay. So, so, one thing I keep hearing from agents is, oh my goodness, if I'm working with a buyer, I'm gonna have to call every agent. My question to that is why? Why do we need to call every agent, every show, and ask them if they're paying? Okay. Right now, how many of you have shown houses knowing your buyer needs X dollars in closing cost assistance? It wasn't advertised, but you went ahead and showed the house anyway, and then you put it as part of the offer. How many have done that?
I have.
I dare say everybody showing a house has done that at one time or another. You showed a house because they were interested in it and they wanted to see it, but the agent didn't advertise that they were going to pay, that the seller was going to pay any closing costs at all. So why is this any different? And why would we not show that house? And one, I think it protects us against any kind of steering, but make it part of the offer. I mean, if a home is on the market and they're asking $300,000 and you give them list price, but you need the buyer needs help with paying your fees. So you put in $6,000 in concessions for your fees. I mean, you can't label it that, but you just put in $6,000 in concessions for buyer agent fees, closing costs, and prepaids. And maybe they needed 4,000 more. So why would it not be $10,000 to be paid, contingent upon seller paying $10,000 in buyers closing costs, prepaids, and buyer agent fees? Because now the buyer has decided that, hey, I need that money to pay your fees, and so you're asking for it. So at the end of the day, if they have to have it and the seller doesn't agree to it, and through counter offers, the numbers never make sense, the deal never happens, and your buyer doesn't have to come out of it, any money out of pocket. It's no different than right now. If they don't have the $4,000 or $5,000 they need for closing cost, and the seller doesn't agree to it, that deal does not happen unless the buyer can come up with that extra money. So I don't see a need for us to call the agents to find out if they're paying a commission or if they're going to compensate for buyers' fees. I think we do business as usual, except that we're changing our language in not only the buyer consultation so they understand how we're getting paid, but also we're changing the fact that we are writing something, we're asking for concessions in our offer on a regular basis. Any questions or thoughts on that? Or have you guys thought of any other way you're going to do it? Quiet. So I hope that helps. I hope you guys don't feel like, I mean, it is changing, but I hope you don't feel like it's just changing and the world's falling in real estate. I don't believe it is. We've done this in commercial forever. So, and also don't forget your conversation with your sellers is changing. Now you're telling them, hey, this is my fee to represent you, and would you like to offer concessions so that if a buyer doesn't have the money to pay for closing costs or does not have the money to pay their agent fees, that this would help them do that and hopefully bring in more buyers. That's a conversation to have with your sellers now. So I think as we go through all this, I think it's going to become not as scary as a lot of agents think. And it's we just gotta do it and do it professionally and be very transparent about things. So, all right. One thing I didn't do is I didn't celebrate anybody's wins. I know it's a slow market, but do we have any wins last week?
I just
wanna-
got a call
Go ahead.
that they're going to be clear to close today.
Awesome. And that's on a buy or a sell? Or
A buy.
Good deal. Congrats. Who else was talking?
I went under contract with some land in Smithville last Tuesday.
Okay, good. Congrats. Anybody else? All right. Well, we still got wins coming in, even in this slow time. Look for it to pick up as interest rates turn more favorable. It'll be interesting. I think they'll report again in July. Right now, we're seeing inflation has ticked down, labor has cooled off. Those are the two things that have got to happen for interest rates to come down, and that's why there's a 90% prediction that there'll be a drop in interest rates come September. So, if that happens, and if we get another one, it could be a very busy fall and winter. So we'll have to see. I want to share the email. This is the email that I'm going to put in the collateral for this week for y'all to see or to send out. Did anybody send out last week's email to their database? All right. Well, this one is kind of more towards renters. Hopefully it gets the conversation going. So it's basically, are you throwing money away? That's what a lot of people say when it comes to renting, but with affordability hurdles, nearly 40% of renters feel stuck and believe they'll never own a home. You might feel that same way. Here's what you need to know. Despite affordability hurdles, there are solutions. And would you be interested in a quick chat to find out your options? So, and then there's some options to talk about. So look at those options, make sure you know how to have those conversations about those options. If you don't, and you want to learn about programs from your lender or whatever, I would encourage you to do that so that that this could even be a conversation if the people start interacting with you with the lender and yourself. So this is nothing more, again, an email that gets out there that all you're trying to do is get a response and create a conversation and turn that conversation into a hopefully a meeting and a client. So this email will be in your collateral. I encourage you to send that out to your database, especially if you know ones that are renting. You can rewrite this and make it some form of social media post with a question attached. So you may get some engagement on your social media. You never know. And then also look back at last week's, there was an email that was given. If you guys did not send it out, it's another email that you can use for your database. So any questions or comments before we go? All right. Well, look, I hope y'all have a great week. If you need anything, please reach out to us. We're here to help in any way we can. Don't forget every Thursday, of course, you'll get a text reminder about BOP Live. They are still working and talking about social media. In fact, I think this Thursday they're going to have a panel of people who are killing it on social media and what they do. So hopefully you can get some tidbits and some learning nuggets to utilize with your social media to help you guys grow and be more productive. So have a good week.
All right, we'll see you guys.